be generous more so that you can build the building brick of generosity.
Get strong.
Strong.
You gotta be strong to lift that building brick.
That's right.
All right. These are the 5 ways to be more generous. 1, write a positive review for your favorite restaurant.
Ooh.
2, offer your expertise.
Okay.
So like mentorship, I'm assuming. 3, volunteer your time. That's a given. 4, give someone a genuine compliment every day.
Compliment?
Yeah.
Okay.
a genuine compliment.
Compliment. You said clomp moment. We'll just clomp it on them.
Compliment. And 5, find a cause that you believe in and donate. It doesn't have to be money. You could donate your time, donate clothing, food, just random stuff that you have around your house too.
Right.
So let's talk about number 1. Write a positive review for your favorite restaurant.
So it doesn't just apply to restaurants, obviously.
No.
Clearly, in a pandemic, you're not going to restaurants, right?
No.
So what are you going to do? There's lots of other things, though. Like, I mean, when you order stuff online, you're always getting it. What are they asking for? They're asking for the review.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because, of course, that helps them, right? And it's being generous for you to take the time to actually give that review.
Yes.
Right? So I think that's something
Do you
that...
think it's being generous to write a negative review? I think it is, as long as you're not being attacked, like you're not attacking them. Like you're giving like an actual good review, something they can learn from.
So you're talking about giving them some positive feedback is what you're talking about. So in other words...
Constructive feedback.
Constructive, yeah. And I call it positive because it's constructive.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily negative.
No.
It's basically saying, this wasn't done right, and I think that if you did this, it would be better, or this was my experience, and I wish it could have been better, and that helps them to be able to improve.
Yeah.
It's positive in a way, but it's also negative in that, well, they didn't hit the mark and actually give you an awesome experience, right? So I think that is something that is generous.
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably harder to do than it is to just give positive all the time. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that when I tend to only give reviews when they are positive.
When they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not one of those people that's gonna go on there and just rah, 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 like most people do. Like there's a lot of people that do that, right?
Yes.
So I think that yeah.
I'd like to do that more often.
Yeah.
Than I don't.
I used to, like, even especially with audiobooks. So I listen to audiobooks a lot.
Yeah.
And when I first started getting into them, I noticed that at the end I was really eager to want to give my feedback on it and so forth, right? So I would give the stars, and I would write a little thing, blah blah blah, and do just all this. Because truthfully, when it came to the reviews, those were very helpful to me in terms of just selecting those books.
When you were selecting the books. Yeah. I can see that.
But now, I'd say for the last 10 ebooks or so that I've listened to, I haven't bothered. Like, I haven't bothered to give feedback on them. I don't know why. Maybe it's a lack of time, because I would take all this time to give these reviews and so forth.
You're not being very generous.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not being generous with positive reviews. So maybe as far as like ways that I could be more generous, I could certainly be more generous with taking the time to actually give reviews back to these companies.
Yeah, I don't write reviews very often. If it's a click easy star that I can just give a rating for, do those no problem. But if it's like I actually have to type something out, the only time I feel like I want to give reviews is when they do something wrong, which that's not always good.
No.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about this, like I don't think I've ever given a positive review, like wrote something out ever.
Really? Never?
I don't know. I'm sure I have a few times, but not that I can think of.
Oh my.
Like maybe like at McCory's when they have like the happy face buttons when you're leaving the store, you can be like, excellent service, medium, sucky. I click one of those on my way out, but now those don't happen anymore because we're in COVID times.
Right.
So I don't even get the fun of doing that anymore.
Oh boy. It's tragic.
Yeah, it is. So no, maybe I can try to think of that too. Because there is lots of times that I can think of like that I had great service, but there's not one specific time, but I can think of lots of negative times.
Wow.
Isn't that funny how you remember, well, I remember the more negative times than I do the good ones.
Right.
Anyways, I don't write reviews for bad ones either, but that's when I'll think about it. Is when it's a crappy experience, is I'll want to write a review, but I don't ever anyways. Takes too much time.
Again, it's the time.
I know. So
Yeah.
I need to be more generous with my reviews. I agree. I'm going to try to give a review this week.
There we go.
At least one per week. That's a good goal.
That's really low. One per week? Come on.
I don't have time. They
Well,
should know by their drive-through times or something.
you should make the time then. You should, just
Be more generous
be more generous with
with
it.
my
Yeah.
reviews. Okay. How?
I mean, if you think it doesn't have to be something that you're actively happening that week. I mean, you can go back to, things that have happened in the past. Maybe some products you purchased and that you used and, actually worked really well and just go back and it's just like, well, here was my experience.
Yeah, that's true. I can
Yeah.
go on like Amazon probably and see.
We have seen here at Enter the Bunker, people come back like months later and actually give us reviews.
Yeah.
Right? We just got one the other day, as a matter of fact. We've been closed for over a year.
I know.
Right?
About the pizza.
Yeah, and it was no, was it the pizza or was it something else?
I don't remember.
No,
There
there
was
was
one about pizza, but I think
There was one
another
about pizza, but there was another one we had. It was literally like I think it was like last week or so.
Okay.
And they just gave us like 5-star review and everything and said great place, blah blah blah, and we went on about it.
Nice.
And it was like, yeah, it's been over a year that we haven't been able to open, so it's like wow, out of nowhere. So someone out there was did number one. They did that one too. Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
All right. So number 2 is offer your expertise. So be a mentor. We kind of touched base on this last week as well.
Yeah.
Again, if you're offering your expertise to somebody, you're most likely giving them your time as well with that. So that's being generous. Any input on that?
I think that it's important. I mean, it's important to. The only way you could really do this is to, let people know that you're offering it. Because I think unless you make the offer, nobody knows, right? And I could see a lot of people who are early in their careers or they're new to something and they need somebody who has, more experience than they do to help them along.
Yeah.
Just put it out there if they are willing to learn, if they are like of a learning mind.
Yeah.
If they have the offer given to them, they're going to take it.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's a matter of like working with them, and you never know. Like, what if the person that you're helping turns out to be like the next billionaire or something like that?
Yeah.
Right?
And then they're like, oh my gosh, this person got me here. Like they could give you like a shout out, give you a review, kind of sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's you're doing initially like to be unselfish, but again, this is all how generosity works. So like reaching out to people who are new in the space is just a great way. And you know what? I think that I could stand to do more of this. I think I mean I'm clearly an expert in the blockchain space and whatnot. So I could be able to reach out to maybe some newer projects that are just getting started and just be like, hey, if you guys need any input, feedback, if you'd like me to advise, I'll be available. But I just don't do that yet. So I should put that out there.
Yeah, I feel like people know you're there.
Yeah.
And like they could go to you, but they probably try not to. So if you were to make the offer, then the door's open.
Yeah, because I wouldn't ever go to somebody, like I know a lot of the other people in the space, right? And I would never if I was somebody who was new in the space, unless I was really cocky, I guess.
Yeah.
Just go out to these guys who are leaders in the space and be like, hey, I could use some help here, blah blah blah, and this kind of thing. Like no, and even that whole approach, it'd be very difficult because you don't have a relationship yet. But if you're just like being open and showing that you want to serve, then that it makes it a lot less intimidating to people who are just just need some help.
Number 3 is volunteer your time.
Volunteer your time.
Yeah, I think that's probably like one of the hardest ways to be generous is your time.
It is, but it's also hard to find volunteer opportunities, I think, that can fit into your time.
Yes.
Because oftentimes it can be, actually probably the best example that most people go through is volunteering for their kids'
elections.
Team. Oh gosh, I can't believe you had to mention elections. Really? You do not want to volunteer for elections.
There's people volunteering there today.
Why do we have volunteer for elections when they spend tens of billions of dollars in the whole process?
Those people.
Yeah, why do they spend, I said billions, hundreds of millions of dollars on elections, yet they have people who are acting as volunteers. Why? It just doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Do you think they at least buy them lunch?
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's the least they could do. Oh.
It could be that they're doing that because they do have some kind of political ambitions,
maybe. Yeah.
right? Maybe they want to do that so that they can try to get a job in government.
Yeah.
Right.
So then they have that. Yeah, that's true.
So they have that.
Yeah.
And plus, or they can make it come off like, you know, just like they're subpoenaed for court sort of thing. Like, you know, they had to serve to be in the jury sort of thing or something like that.
I want that to happen to me.
Why would you want that?
I don't know. It'd be cool.
I don't think it's cool. You'd have to be away from work for so long. That'd be horrible.
Yeah, that would be horrible. I would cry every day. Okay, so number 3. Volunteer your time.
Volunteering your time is probably most easily done with a lot of people who have kids and they go to sports.
Yep.
Right. So they play on a hockey team or a soccer team, and so what inevitably happens? There's the parents that have to get involved to, you know, volunteer whatever it might be.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, it's like, you know, such and such is going to carry the equipment, and such is going to arrange for that. Yep. And so you have lots of opportunities to be able to volunteer when you have kids. But if you don't have kids, right, then it's going to be something that you really have to reach out for.
Right.
Right. So I think that
there's a lot of school activities too if you have kids. Like there's the PTG group, the PTG group. There's also, they put on dances and stuff that they need chaperones for.
Yeah.
You could be chaperone for your kids, like school trips and stuff like that when those get on the roll again.
And let's get a little bit more modern here. You can volunteer to be a mod in a forum or a chat.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So think about the times when you're watching your favorite streamer. Hello. And want to be able to actually participate a little bit more, offer up to actually say like, hey, you know, you need a mod? I'd like to be able to help out. And clearly you're going to have to be accountable and actually like help out and make sure that you're doing that. So online communities, there's an entire world,
so much,
you know, that is looking for people to help out with all kinds of things. So just volunteering your time to be able to do that kind of thing, again, that actually goes a really long way when it comes to your reputation in that community too.
It sure does.
Right? Because people see that you become known, and it's like you're given some responsibility. And then, so oftentimes if things take off, like sometimes they go to a next level, suddenly you get swept up with it and it turns into a whole new opportunity. Right?
So you never know where it's going to take you.
Exactly. So if people are just generous in terms of volunteering their time to do little things like that in online communities, it could totally transform their lives.
What are some more ways that people can volunteer? Is there any other ways that they can do it? Like modern, like you said, like on the internet? What other things could they volunteer on there?
So, for example, if you know 2 languages, volunteering to translate things for documentations and things like that, that's always in demand. That's always something that people need. And some people, if they do it professionally, it can understand where they may not want to volunteer. But the truth is that once you get started on that and you do a little bit of it, there's a good chance that when people start to see that value, they'd be like, you know, hey, we really need somebody to do this full time. How about you? Right? So if you start with like doing things like translations, modding chats, helping with whatever your expertise might be.
And then you can do your stuff like your basic thing, just going to a shelter and cooking craft dinner Thursday, or we've talked about that before, or like a soup shelter, or volunteering your time. There's all sorts of like usually community events that go on that they have the events but they need volunteers to like run the events.
Yes.
So that's often one that people can do. Those are just a few options of volunteering your time. Number 4 is give someone a genuine compliment every day. And no, it doesn't have to be the same person.
Okay.
It could be multiple people.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's being generous. I think I'm going to try that too, complimenting. Try to give it like 7 compliments a day.
A day?
Yeah, I think that should be easy.
Okay.
Do you think?
You'll have to pay attention for the things that they're doing to compliment them.
Yeah, because it can't just be like, it could be as simple as, oh, your hair looks really nice today. But then when I say that, I like to go into detail, like, what did you do to it? Like, to find out, like, what they did differently, because maybe I want to try it out. Like, you never know. Yeah. Yeah, when you are complimenting somebody, you really want to kind of go into detail about the compliment.
Yes.
Not just like, oh, that shirt looks really good. I like that logo. You ask them where they got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we talked about this, right?
Yeah.
Is that when it comes to complimenting, it has to be very specific about an activity or an event or a thing, I guess, rather than just, talking to them directly as though you're complimenting them as a person.
Right.
Right. Once you start to direct it at the person, they feel it's insincere, that you're manipulating them, and you don't want that. Right. You want it to be something that's because this was happening, you're complimenting the thing, you're not complimenting the person. Right. But because that person did it, then that person takes pride in that, well, I was the one that did that.
Yeah.
So that's what happens.
And it does.
Yeah,
it
and
really
you don't need to, and as long as you're not the one that's pointing at them for that, they can feel it, and they feel it's real, right? And it is real, right?
And like, you don't have to go into crazy detail. Something like, so if somebody's doing a good job at work, hey, you got that project done you had it done quicker than what I even expected. Thank you. Yeah. Like, just something like that. That way you went into detail, they had it done quicker. They did. That's why you're giving them the compliment, because they got it done in a timely order. Right. Yeah.
In that case, though, you were giving them thanks. So.
Right. Great job. True. Okay, and number 5 is find a cause that you believe in and donate. It doesn't have to be money. You can donate clothing, food, random stuff around the house.
Yeah, or again, getting a little modern.
Yeah.
There are tons of platforms today that you can go to be able to fund various projects around the world.
Yes, there is.
So Gofundme is clearly the most obvious, with like everybody going there for everything under the sun in terms of being able to fund it.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, the only time that I'll get involved if it's something I personally know about.
Yeah.
Right. So I know that there was, the events that happened here in the last year. I've helped some neighbors' kids be able to travel, to be able to go certain places.
Oh, nice.
There's been other times where I donated to a friend who's like trying to get. What is that? Test tube babies. What do you call that?
Immaculate conception.
It's not immaculate conception. It's like it's like
in vitro.
In vitro process, whatever it costs, and it costs tens of thousands of dollars, and so they can't get, and so of course they couldn't afford it, so they were trying to do GoFundMe. So I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So things like that I can relate to. I'll be generous with. It's really difficult with some other things that I don't know the people, and maybe I read it and then I feel inspired, and I want to be a part of it. Yeah. But there's lots of platforms where people are generous all the time, and they are giving they can give whatever they can give. It could be as little as $5. It could be as much as thousands.
You kind of got me thinking too. Like, do you think signing a petition for something you believe in is being generous?
That,
because you're going out of your way to sign a petition, say it's to end hunger.
Yeah.
And you're signing a petition for that. Like, that's something that's quite the petition I just made up. But like, you're going out of your way, you're being generous to this organization that you truly believe in may end hunger.
Right.
So I think that's being generous. Like, and it doesn't cost money is what I'm thinking too. Because you were talking about like donating even $5, but I'm just thinking donate your signature.
Yeah.
Donate your blood.
Yeah. So putting your name on something like that certainly can be seen as generous. Me personally, I do not like these petitions when they come to my screen. Yeah. Only because I know where the information goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's these platforms, they end up just being these huge honeypots for collecting information on you.
Yeah.
And you not are
next sponsored ad on Facebook is.
Yeah. And then what happens is that your petition really doesn't go towards the petition. It ends up just being this huge collection of data on you, right? And which is so disappointing. If we had better systems, then I would feel more trust and
comfortable
in actually participating.
Yeah.
But right now, the way the systems are, they're just compromised. You don't actually get what you think you're getting.
Right.
So I'm not really a fan of signing these online petitions. But if it's something you really believe in, I don't think that's really generosity, though. No, I would say
you're going out of your way.
Yeah, but it's something you believe in, so it's not giving to somebody else. You're putting forward what you want, right? You're joining a cause, which is great, but it's not necessarily giving to somebody who's in need. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah.
My brain more went, well, maybe you don't necessarily believe in the cause, but your best friend does, and they're firm believers, so you just went on to support them to do. But that's just where my brain was going, to try to make up an excuse to, not an excuse, but trying to, when you were saying you don't really think it's a generosity, I was just trying to think, well, how could it be? Because in my head at first it was, so, but it, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, folks. All right, do you think there's any other ways to show more ways of generosity? How to be generous? Like, is there any, we went through the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you implemented these 5,
yeah,
right, then you'd be on a pretty solid path towards being generous in your life.
I think so.
And I think that as long as you did that consistently, then it goes to being a habit, and then it graduates to becoming a behavior.
Right.
And that's when you build your building brick of generosity. So I think
work that muscle.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's even if you didn't do all 5, if you picked like 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5, and sorry, I should have said 2 out of 5 and 3 out of 5 because there's 5. but even if you only picked a couple and you made that consistency, you would build generosity in your life and transform where you're from, right?
So you pick 3 off that list right now.
3 off that list. 1, write positive review. 2, offer my expertise. 4, give someone a genuine compliment every day. That's going to be toughy for me because I don't do that often.
No, I was thinking that. I was wondering if you were going to pick 4 or 5, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pick 3. Mine's going to be 1, write a positive review. 4, give someone a genuine compliment. And my third one is going to be find a cause I believe in, volunteer my time, or offer my expertise. I think I'm gonna have to, I don't know. I can just pick 2. No, I'll pick either 2 or 5. So offer my expertise or find a cause that I believe in and donate. I'm gonna practice 3 of those this week, and
excellent.
Yeah, maybe I'll even practice 4 of them. But my time is, I can't volunteer my time this week. Not this week. Life's been busy. It's the summer.
True.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're finding a cause that you believe in and you're donating, you're taking the time, you're volunteering your time to go do it too.
You're still on this. Okay. You still need. You're still like, I need to. This must be right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the truth is that what you're doing is you're extending yourself, right? You're not necessarily helping somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, you are and you aren't. You know what I mean? Like if it's, I guess it depends on the cause, but really it's not being generous. It's extending your own will. You know?
Yes, I understand that.
So it's not.
Okay, I'm off the kick.
There you go.
I'm off the kick. I'm just trying to think if there's any other ways to be generous. I think like those top 5 have pretty much like nailed it right on the head, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to practice my 3 or 4 because I couldn't decide between my third one. And you're going to practice your 3.
1, 2, 4.
1, 2, 4, and mine's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 or 4. Either or. All right. So stay tuned. Next week we are going to be talking about endurance.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
We're going to go for a run around the bunker.
Okay.
All right. You ready for that?
No, I'm going to drop dead.
Hopefully it's not 40 degrees like it was last week.
No, actually, I think it's cooling down pretty quick.
Last night was prime.
Yeah, so we should be okay next week.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we shall talk to you next week.
See you next week. Have a generous day.